Would you want to be out in the 40s when you're completely naked and wet? I want it. Okay, this might be one of the hottest topics. One of the biggest the biggest request I get for the channel is how do you handle the cold? And I thought this would be a good day to do that because it's a cold front's coming in. You probably can't tell, but it's very, very windy. It's in the 70s now, but it's going to be in the low 50s during the day for a couple days. I know most of you are like, oh, Dave, you poor thing, it's going to be in the 50s. Well, here in Sarasota, Florida, that's cold, and orchids don't like cold. So today we're going to go over how to not kill your orchid. And the other thing is, I see a lot of people almost over shuffle. That's kind of like the vernacular, the orchid shuffle, meaning you take your orchids out, in, out, in, out, in, according to the temperature. Some people have no choice because they live further north. And yes, if it gets cold enough, and we'll talk about that, you have no choice. You have to take them in. But I find that a lot of people over shuffle in the sense that they take them in a little too early. And it's not good for these orchids. They don't like being shuffled. Orchids don't like constantly being moved. It's not good for them. So you really want to wait until you absolutely have to take your shuffle. All right, let's jump in. I always like to feature an orchid of the day. This is my recent, it's starting to bloom. Please tell me what this is in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's a Schomburgkia. It doesn't have a tag, but look at this. I've had this for years, and it, as you can tell, is a happy, happy plant, and it has all these blooms. And I would like to enter that into a competition, but there's no competitions around here currently. So I hope you enjoyed my orchid of the week. Maybe you get a sense of the wind now. I mean, it is really windy, but so what we're going to do is we're going to start from the least cold sensitive to the most cold sensitive. Okay, I thought that would be interesting. Now, there is a tremendous amount of debate when it comes to this topic. I will say things today that half of you will vehemently disagree with, and that's okay. We're here to argue. We're here to exchange ideas in the Dave's Orchid Oasis family. So don't forget, there's lots of opinions on this stuff, but I think there's some general opinions overall, and I think most people would agree with some of these, but some are kind of on the in-between. So let's start with the least cold sensitive, which is the good old-fashioned Dendrobium aggregatum. Here it is, the Dendrobium aggregatum. They've changed the name recently. Lindley or something. Anyway, so these guys, you almost have to put them in the cold because if they never experience any cold, they generally do not bloom. They need a cold, you know, I think in nature, naturally, in their real habitat, they need that. They need that in order to bloom in the spring. These magnificent yellow flowers. They cascade down. I have lots of them here. So they're a big favorite of mine. Another one would be these nobly type Dendrobiums, or some people call them soft cane Dendrobiums. They're deciduous or semi-deciduous. So the leaves fall off, and then again, beautiful, beautiful flowers. Not only, you really, unless it's, I guess, freezing, you don't really want to take those in because again, without like a cold time, again, people might disagree with it, but I think that's how it works. I'm 90% sure. I'm completely sure that you can keep them out unless it gets really, really, really cold. So those are the first two. This is not a fact as much as it is a question. So this is a Radigan orchid. Some people call it a ground orchid. I don't know how cold tolerant they are. They don't look thrilled because we've had a lot of cold. I never take them in just because they're so big. They look a little purple, like they got a little cold damage. So if anyone out there knows what to do with ground orchids, the problem is they're gigantic. I mean, there's no way I'm bringing these things in. Really, at any point, I'm not bringing these things in. So let me know what I do with my Radigans. Okay, here's another one. This is a Catasetum. So these guys, I don't think they mind the cold. I'm not sure that they have to have the cold. They need a hard winter's rest, so you're not supposed to water or fertilize them. But I don't think they're especially sensitive to cold. I would never bring these in. They'd be one of the last ones I would take in. Anything in this Catasetum family, I think you're okay with, as long as it's not freezing. And what I'm going to do too, I'm going to go through all these orchids. And I'm going to, like I said, we're going from least sensitive to most sensitive. And after that, I'm going to give you all kinds of tips on just general tips that I've found to be very helpful, both meaning the most efficient ways of protecting these orchids. Because again, I have so many orchids that taking them in and out constantly is literally impossible. So I'll give you some really strong tips on how to make moving your orchids around and keeping them safe as easy as possible. That's a really big deal. Otherwise, in the winter, growing orchids is a total pain in the butt. All right, next we have your Brassavola and Brassavola Cattleya hybrids. I believe Brassavola and Cattleya are generally quite cold hardy. What's so tricky about this, though, is there's a billion species of Cattleya and hybrids and this and that. And some species are very sensitive to cold, some aren't at all. So it's a really tricky subject, which I don't understand. So in the comments, if there's anyone that's found that they're having real problems with a specific species in the Cattleya family, let me know. The same with the Schomburgkia family or the Schomburgkia hybrid family. Gonna have a nice little bloom coming here. Again, all of these are kind of lumped together. Whenever you look at the Brassavolas, Cattleya, Schomburgkia, all that kind of stuff, they all kind of get lumped together in what I would call medium. I would not rush to get them in. Like Cattleya would be, oh my goodness, it's in the 30s, emergency, the entire collection is going in. Otherwise, it would just be impossible. But again, in the comments, if you disagree with that, but I find that Cattleya are a little more hardy when it comes to this kind of stuff. Another one I don't know, and let me know in the comments, are Oncidium. I don't know. I leave them out. Generally, I generally bring them in before Cattleya because I figure they have little thin leaves, so maybe that makes them more sensitive. I don't know. I have no idea. So let's lump the whole Brassavola, Cattleya, Schomburgkia, Oncidium. Let's smush them all together, and let's just jump to stuff that you really need to worry about. All right, a lot of these are close, but they all have the same feature. I get them inside. First, if it gets cold, mid to low 40s, they are inside every time. Bulbophyllum, I find, are pretty cold sensitive. But again, there's a billion different Bulbophyllum, but the big common ones you'd find at nurseries in South Florida are very, very sensitive to cold. So my Bulbophyllum would also always come in quickly. What I have here, my little coat rack thingy, is all the stuff that's very cold sensitive, very cold sensitive. So if it gets even like upper 40s, I'll usually just roll it in at night. Very easy. It takes 5 minutes. Well, not even that, 1 minute. And so I'm going to at least protect the insanely sensitive ones. Next up is the Dendrobium. So the Dendrobium, Arcane Dendrobium, which I have a billion. They are absolutely my favorite here because they grow like weeds. They're beautiful flowers. The flowers last forever. There's a million different kinds and colors. Love them. So yeah, they definitely need to go in. Very cold sensitive. If you look at my table here, these are all, they're all grouped together because they all get upset at the same time. So Dendrobium, Arcane Dendrobium, definitely be one of the first ones to come in. Okay, here's another one, even more sensitive, extremely sensitive. These are also Arcane Dendrobium, but these are what are called antelope type Dendrobium, because can you see they have like little antlers? So look at this monster. I'm telling you, these things grow like crazy. in my garden. So Arcane Dendrobium, normal kind, definitely cold sensitive. These are crazy cold sensitive. Moving on. All right, here's the big one. Vanda. You can't get away from this. Vanda in the wild are, and these are tropical plants. Like there's no getting around it. They are tropical plants. You cannot get away from putting your Vandas away. They are very, very, very cold sensitive. If it's mid 40s or lower, you absolutely need to take them in. Not absolutely, but they'd be unhappy otherwise. You can tell that they have cold damage because they might lose a couple leaves at the bottom, and they just don't like it. I guess that's the biggest thing, and it totally cuts off growth, and they don't, and the roots stop growing. And honestly, I don't even know what a cold damaged Vanda looks like, but I hear time and time again, Vandas, number one, you got to keep them inside. They're extremely cold sensitive. They love the heat. They hate the cold. So be careful with your Vanda. They need to go in. This is the last one. I learned this the hard way. Gramatophyllum, or Grammy orchids. Gramatophyllum despise cold. Now, you can see all the, I mean, look at this. The brown leaves. It just looks horrible. Everything's dying. Well, this isn't from the cold. This is from me watering it too much, and I rotted out the entire thing and probably killed it. But why I'm showing you this is it kind of looks like this when you expose it to cold. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think last year, like I said, I learned the hard way. It might have been outside for 2 or 3 nights when it was in the mid 40s, and all the leaves fell off. They all turned black and fell off. Gramatophyllum, in my opinion, are by far the most cold sensitive. Get them in. They are, if it's high 40s, they're in. Again, they're all on my rack here, so it's easy. They're not the most popular orchid either, but if you have one, beware. I am now in my lanai, under my lanai, and I'm going to start talking about efficiencies and how to best handle this kind of stuff. So again, I'm lucky because some of my lanai is covered and a lot of it is not. So this would be my area to bring everything in. And you might say, well, Dave, if that's the case, if it gets cold, I mean, it's still kind of outside. I mean, it's still going to get cold, really cold. And I say, that's true. I say, for a long time, that was a big problem. I'd have to bring everything inside the house, which was beyond the pain in the butt. And my collection got to a size where it was almost just not even tenable. Wasn't going to happen. So I splurged. I went out of my way, and I got retracting hurricane screens. And I'm going to do them right now, and it's going to blow your mind. Okay, are you ready? Are you sure? So I bring everything in under this covered area. I go get this remote control, and I hit the button. What you're seeing is magic. What you're seeing is game-changing. Are you seeing this? I mean, that's cool. So they keep the heat in, it lets some light in, and it is just really cool, and it takes a touch of a button. Again, this is beyond the splurge, but man, does it work well. It works really, really well. And then what I did is I got a 240 volt outlet. I'm nuts. I freely admit this. So, but again, with this many orchids, so I got a 240 volt outlet, right, which is like what you would plug a dryer into. And I got a heater, a space heater, specifically, that's rated for a really, really big heater. Because if you just plug a heater into a 120 volt outlet, it's like nothing. Like it's barely any heat. So I got this big power heater plugged into the 240 volt outlet. So it is just pumping out heat in here. So I can, if it's in the 40s, I can keep it in the 70s in here. I mean, that's how hot it can be. I don't keep it that hot. I usually keep it in like low 60s. But this is a little over the top, but this is where the magic happens. It makes it a lot easier. I forgot to talk about Phalaenopsis as far as cold sensitivity. I don't grow them, so I'm not the best person to ask. I find that in my climate, these are genetically designed to live inside houses, right? Because they sell them all over the country. So I find they're not real happy outside. People argue with me and they say that's not true, and maybe I'm wrong. I just don't like messing with them. They are hard for me. Anyway, cold sensitivity, my understanding is they are cold sensitive, quite cold sensitive. But at the same time, they need to experience during the year a big drop in temperature at night in order to initiate blooming. So what do you do with these guys? I don't really know. If it's really, really cold, I guess you bring them in. Please, in the comments, let me know what the heck do I do with this. My wife loves these, but when they're done blooming, she sticks them outside, so I'm not sure what to do at that point. Let's talk about another efficiency. I have every one of my tables. Every table on this lanai has casters, meaning there's wheels I put wheels at the bottom of them. So if you look at every single table, anything, they're all on casters. And why do I do that? It's very simple, right? Whenever I need to, I just push them all into my lanai, hit the button, and they come down. I mean, so I put the most cold sensitive stuff on these tables. So the Arcane Dendrobium, antelope type, all that kind of stuff. I put on these tables, so if it gets cold, it's like 5 minutes. I got to figure it out. It's great. As opposed, I used to like walk back and forth and back and forth and back. It was, well, as you know, it is ridiculous. So that, again, is another efficiency to get this done. And the other efficiency, like I said, is the coat rack thing, which is the same concept. Another efficiency, let's check it out. This is a big one. So the Vandas need to go in, right? So instead of taking each Vanda, and some of these are really big, the ones I have, in and out, carry all these Vandas. I probably have 100 Vandas, at least 100 Vandas, in and out. I'm like, no, there's got to be a better way. There is a better way. So all of these are hanging from the aluminum cage. So I have like holes I drilled in up there. Anyway, so this is what happens. So these are, oh my goodness, see? These are, so what I do is each one of these, each side has this little piece of hardware that you can slip on and off. So you slip both sides off, you and another person, just stick them on your shoulder and walk on in. I mean, this really, I can get all of the cold sensitive stuff off of my lanai in less than half an hour. And we're talking maybe 200 plus orchids, maybe 20 minutes I can get them in. So like I said, you get to a point where you have no other choice. You'll just lose your mind. Another tip, orchids get colder when they're wet. Just like a person. Would you want to be out in the 40s when you're completely naked and wet? I wouldn't. So because of that, when it's going to get cold, I really pull back on the watering. These orchids are dry, way drier than they usually are, because I know it's going to be really cold the next couple days. I usually water almost every day. I've completely cut off watering. I'm trying to get everything dry as a bone because that is ideal for when it gets cold. The other more advanced thing you need to know is magnesium helps orchids with their cold tolerance. So you can get just regular Epsom salt, and I think it's like a tablespoon per gallon. Look at the bag, tablespoon per gallon. And you spray it over all of your plants, and that nutrient, when it absorbs that nutrient, it definitely increases its cold tolerance. So that's another thing that people do, is if they know cold temperatures are coming in a couple days, they'll spray down all their plants with magnesium. Speaking of magnesium, a box is popping up right now that's going to show you how to fertilize your orchids, because in my opinion, it's just about the most important thing. So click on that box and you will learn what you need to know to keep your plants happy, healthy, and protected from the cold. All right, be blessed. Okay, it is now night and I forgot something. Everything I just said, some people would think is just not right. A lot of people, or I shouldn't say that, there are some people that believe that we baby our orchids too much and you should never take them in ever unless there's a frost. Because if you baby them, they won't get used to the cold. You need to just allow them to adapt to the colder and colder weather. Stop babying your orchids.